Hello everyone, this is Neon. Welcome to Impromptu English with Neon. And even though the channel's name is that Impromptu English with Neon, so that doesn't mean, of course, that I'm against scripts, that I'm discouraging you from making any and all scripts. So it's not that, okay? I wanted to clarify that I'm not saying that scripts are bad. You should never make a script. If it's a very important event, like it's the first public speech you're going to give, then perhaps it's a good idea to have somewhat of a script memorized, at least some bullet points. But if you do have a full script memorized, things may go very bad. So speaking from not personal experience, but from my friends' experiences, so I never memorized scripts. I was good in memorization when I was a child, but not so much now. So many of my friends, so they sometimes memorized scripts and they rehearsed and rehearsed. But when it came time to give the script, to give the presentation, to give the script, to give the speech, so they messed up really bad many times, more than the amount of times they actually succeeded. So sometimes what happens is that when someone memorizes something and then they're performing it in front of a stage, in front of at least it could be just like 10 or 20 people, even that. So if they fumble for even one moment, if they forget a point, then what happens is that they get more nervous, and then the rest of the speech also gets hampered. So I'm not just speaking from my own personal observations. I have researched about it. As you know, I'm an ELT major, English language teaching major, and a linguistics major, so I have researched about it. So memorization doesn't really help much when you're giving scripts, when you're giving speeches. So the title of the video is that impromptu speaking is the best. So why is that? So at first I said that not always is impromptu speaking the best. For example, when the ramifications are big, when the consequences are very big. But when the ramifications, the consequences are not that high. So for example, you're speaking with someone, you're speaking in the classroom, then even if you fumble, it's better to actually speak naturally. So I remember that some people, they rehearsed in their minds before speaking up in the classroom. Where, they told me that if I raise my hand and then the teacher says yes, speak, and then if I hesitate or if I go blank, then what will happen? So that's why they did that. So yeah, people do that, and it's not that they are anxious people in general. Language anxiety is a term in that I know from research, that people who are not actually introverted, they may be extroverted, even people even who are extroverted and they are very socially outgoing, even they may face language anxiety. Because language anxiety is a specific type of anxiety that can happen to anyone, not just anxious people, not just people with anxiety. So why is it that we have spent about 10 years, 12 years or more learning English from class, from primary education, but still we are not fluent at it? Everybody knows the answer. It's because of a lack of practice. So why are we then fluent in our mother tongue? Can you speak in Bangla for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour without much hesitation? Yes, probably you can. Probably most of us can, right? Why is that? Well, first to clarify, there will be certain hesitations, as there are two major types of hesitations. One is content related hesitation. It's when we take some time to remember what we were going to talk about, or remember an aspect of, or rack our brains to get from our memory something to talk about. Like, for example, do you know what happened then? There was a kite, there was a boat. So here, when I was counting here, it was a sample. So here someone, or in this case me, I was trying to remember what I'm going to say. So in this case, it's not a language related hesitation, it's a content related one. It's when you're trying to think of something, you're trying to remember something, or it may not be something related to memory, but it's related with content at least. And the other type of hesitation is language related hesitation. It's when we wonder how to put words together to form sentences, to string words together. You might be thinking, oh, what's that word? I know the Bangla word is this. what's the English word? Is it this? Is it this? So this hesitation, or when you're trying to think of a presentation of a preposition, if it is at or in or on, so those types of hesitation are called language related hesitations. So yeah, the only medicine for treating those language hesitations is practice. So now I'm going to tell some personal stories as to why I made this YouTube channel to become more fluent in English. So in 2017, 4.5 years from now on, I wanted to go to USA to my graduation. So I did my IELTS, and in the speaking section, I messed up. I messed up big time. And guess what the topic was about? Guess what the question was about? It was in the section where the examiner gave me a sheet of paper and a pencil or a pen, and then asked me to write about the topic, to take notes about the topic for a minute, and then afterwards I had to speak for about 2 minutes. And the topic was about someone who inspires me. And at that time, I wasn't a big anime fan. I was just a wrestling fan, a WWE fan. And of course, I chose my childhood hero, my adulthood hero also, John Cena. And I went blank. I couldn't speak for the entire 2 minutes. I remembered the examiner doing like this, motioning me to carry on, but I was blank. I hesitated so much and I couldn't speak for the entire 2 minutes. I did get 7.5 in IELTS despite that, and that's a good number, alhamdulillah. But that memory of me not being able to speak of my favorite wrestler for 2 minutes, that sticks in my mind. And then a few months later, I was admitted to Brack University. So my parents didn't want me to enroll to be admitted to study in the English department. I somewhat fought for that. I wouldn't say fought, because my parents are very understanding, alhamdulillah. But they didn't want me to study there. They wanted me to study in ICT or CSE, but I chose English, and I was and so I had to do good at it, right? So alhamdulillah, I've done good at university. But in the admission test, I didn't study beforehand, but the written admission test was very easy. It was a walk in the park, but in the Viva, I again messed up. Guess which question I messed up on in this time? No, not about John Cena, but this time it was even worse. This time it was about myself. They asked me to speak about myself, about what makes who I am. And I couldn't get in more than one or two sentences in. And yeah, those were very humbling moments. And so if you think that you're very good at English, it may still be that you aren't so fluent. And if you are fluent, then mad props to you, mashallah. But you need practice, so impromptu speaking is the best. I'll touch on another thing, which is that I was hired to be a teaching assistant, and it was the first time I formally taught digitally, so I was very excited. I made tutorials, I recorded my screen, and showed how to correct sentences, how to make points, and how to write paragraphs, things like that. It was a writing course. And afterwards I was told, and the person who told me, he or she was very generous. He or she went about it in a very kind way. But I was told that I should make my videos with a script, and I should make it more like YouTube, and add background music and all. So I did do that. I followed those instructions, but I didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel good just by reading from a script. And so you know Khan Academy, right? So Khan Academy, those videos, especially the earlier videos, those were very spontaneous. So I watched a video where Khan said that about 90 to 95% of the maths or the physics problems or the chemistry equations that he was showing in the videos were completely spontaneous, 90 to 95%. So yeah, it felt like someone was there guiding you by hand, right? It felt very natural. And many of you may prefer fast-paced videos with very much editing, where about 200 250 words per minute are said. but I prefer more chilled podcast like talk like this, and that's why I made this YouTube channel. Another thing I'll touch on is that in the past few months, it's been going all online, right? The past few semesters, 1.5 years, university, those semesters have been going online. And what I did is for my thesis defense and for many of my presentations, I wrote scripts for my presentations and then read them out when doing the presentations. And I did get good marks, and I wasn't caught because I didn't have to put my camera on, and I did get good marks, but it made me feel very bad. It made me feel like and I have written for 2 years. Over 2 years I have experience as a content writer, as a content editor, proofreader, but I cannot speak for about 5 to 10 minutes. But then now, after having made the YouTube channel, I can already feel the surge of confidence. Alhamdulillah, you've all shown me so much support. Thank you so much. I didn't expect so much support, and I've been able to talk for about 20 minutes in two videos: the One Piece review and the Crown Jewel review. One Piece live reaction, the Crown Jewel review. So yes, it's been going much better than planned, and I already have a surge of confidence, and I think that you all will also have your confidence boosted, and you will become more fluent in English if you continue to practice impromptu speaking. So that's all for today. Thank you so much. Hope you stay with me in my journey to become more fluent in English. Tata, assalamu alaikum.